At the beginning of this film, we are introduced to Igor Grom, a renowned individual who had the superpower to foresee the future. Using this superpower and intelligence, he had once captured a very cunning criminal named Dr. Plague. Dr. Plague was originally an IT expert, but he didn't even realize when he transitioned from being an IT expert to a full-fledged criminal. In reality, he suffered from multiple personality disorder, which meant that he was living two completely separate lives without even realizing it. One of his personalities lived as an IT expert, while the other was extremely dangerous. When his second personality took over, he would commit crimes, robbing wealthy individuals and distributing the money among the poor. Because of this, the impoverished population began to worship him as a hero and started following his commands. Due to his crimes, Igor Grom eventually captured him, and when questioned about his actions, he claimed that it was all the doing of his friend. However, after an investigation, Igor Grom proved that this friend had died 6 years ago, and that Dr. Plague himself was responsible for all the crimes. Unable to accept this truth, Dr. Plague incited riots in the city by gathering the people who worshipped him as a hero and led them himself. Risking his own life, Igor Grom managed to control the situation and ultimately captured Dr. Plague, gaining fame for his heroics. Dr. Plague was then placed in a high-security mental hospital, where he is still undergoing treatment. The scene then shifts to the present day, where we learn that all the prisoners in a jail had suddenly been set free. As soon as they were freed, they started killing the security guards, taking the lives of many innocent people, and locking up the remaining officers inside the prison cells. To handle the situation, Igor Grom made an entry, fought all the prisoners, overpowered them, and successfully put them back in jail. While so many people were unable to control the chaos, Igor Grom, along with just one partner, managed to handle everything. Soon, the media arrived to interview him, but he struggled to answer their questions properly. It was here that his weakness became apparent. He couldn't speak in front of people. A red-haired woman standing among the anchors helped him respond, and it was revealed that she was Igor Grom's fiancée. Following this, the police officers celebrated their successful handling of the situation by throwing a party, which the general also attended. The general was actually Igor Grom's uncle. The next day, the security minister arrived to meet the major, suggesting that their department needed an upgrade. She proposed replacing officers with high-tech drones to enhance the security system's efficiency. However, the major believed that no machine could replace human capability. In response, the security minister proposed a competition between her drones and the major's officers to determine the better choice. The following day, they gathered at a training center where Igor Grom had to compete against the drone. However, he was still hungover from the previous night's party. Despite this, he performed exceptionally well, identifying and shooting his target in just a few seconds. When it was the drone's turn, it took 52 seconds to locate its target. This small time difference saved all the police officers from losing their jobs, making the major and the officers extremely happy. Igor Grom, however, was in a hurry to leave because it was his engagement anniversary. He had booked a table on a rooftop for his fiancée, Yulia, who was delighted by the gesture. The couple exchanged gifts. Yulia brought a smartphone for Igor, but he refused to accept it, believing that smartphones could be used to track his location. Meanwhile, Igor asked Yulia to move into his house, which made her even happier. As they were talking, they noticed a small car with a bomb attached to it. Before they could react, the car exploded. They quickly moved away to save themselves. Igor saw a masked man standing on a nearby building, watching them. He immediately chased after the man while Yulia took pictures of him. The masked man tried to keep Igor away by throwing small bombs at him, making it clear that he was heavily armed. When Igor finally caught up, the man fought him skillfully, even throwing him off a building. As Igor fell, the masked man called him and delivered a grim message. He had planted bombs throughout the city, and the first one was about to explode. He offered Igor a chance to prevent the blast by solving a set of clues. Panicked, Igor Grom frantically tried to decipher the clues. He suspected that the bomb might be in the palace and ran towards it. However, before he could reach, an explosion occurred near a statue instead. As chaos erupted in the city, Igor received another call from the masked man, who mockingly told him that he had misinterpreted the clue. It wasn't the palace, but the statue. The masked man then issued an ultimatum. Igor must resign from his job, or more bombs would explode throughout the city. He also warned Igor not to inform anyone about him, or more innocent lives would be lost. News of the bomb explosion became a major headline on TV channels. Reporters repeatedly questioned the police about the real culprit behind the attack, but even the authorities had no answers. They also asked about Igor Grom, but he had been missing the entire day. Not even his fiancée or best friend could reach him. Everyone worried about him until he finally returned home, where his friend and fiancée were waiting for him. However, Igor didn't share his troubles with them and sent them away, fearing that they too might become targets if they got involved. Meanwhile, Igor's friends suspected that there was a conspiracy behind the sudden mass prison escape. He tortured one of the prisoners and discovered that the prison's own warden had facilitated their escape, meaning there was a much larger scheme at play. On the other hand, Yulia disguised herself and infiltrated a mental hospital to gather information about a certain individual who had been treated there years ago. However, a doctor recognized her and hypnotized her to extract information. Under hypnosis, Yulia revealed that she was searching for a man with a 1526 mark on his hand for Igor's sake. After obtaining this information, the doctor released her from hypnosis and provided her with the details of the person she was looking for. After Yulia left, the doctor visited Dr. Plague's room, where it was revealed that he was still in terrible condition. His negative personality was still dominant, and he was suffering immensely. The doctor gave him a tablet to calm him down. The scene then shifted to Igor Grom, who visited an old journalist to gather information about a person. The man he was searching for had the same 1526 mark on his hand, the same mark Yulia was also investigating. The journalist explained that this was the symbol of the Crooks Creature, an organization that functioned like a military unit, carrying out dangerous missions solely for money. As they were discussing this, Igor received another call from the masked man. This time, he warned Igor that since he had not yet resigned, another bomb was about to go off. Once again, he provided Igor with a clue to locate the bomb. In his frustration, Igor consumed a lot of alcohol and wandered aimlessly, trying to solve the clue. His drunken state led people to take pictures of him. Eventually, he managed to decode the clue and realized that the bomb was planted in a circus. Rushing there, he evacuated the crowd just in time. However, soon after, another bomb exploded at a different location, meaning Igor had failed once again. The bomb explosion led to renewed chaos in the city. People started blaming the police and even Igor Grom himself. His drunken videos went viral, causing his reputation to be tarnished. Citizens began writing insults on Igor's statue, and an angry mob even attacked his house. One person who was extremely happy about all of this was the owner of the robot drone company, whose drones Major had refused to introduce into the police force. Now, he had the perfect opportunity to introduce his drones. The security minister was about to sign the deal before Igor could stop her. Igor suspected that the owner of the drone company was actually the real mastermind behind 1526, also known as the Crops Creature, who would undertake any mission, good or bad, for money. However, when Igor tried to prove this to the minister, he found number 1526 mark on the man's hand, proving his theory wrong. In the end, the minister replaced police officers with drones. Disheartened by all these events, Igor was about to resign, but Major revealed that he had taken all the blame upon himself and resigned instead because he believed Igor was the only one capable of handling the situation. After Major left, Igor once again received a call from the same mysterious person, urging him to resign. Igor was confused. Initially, he thought it was the drone company's owner, but since the company had already achieved its goal of selling drones to the police department, it didn't make sense. Who was the person repeatedly threatening him to resign? Igor, along with his partner, tried to investigate. When Igor's partner visited a suspect's house for questioning, he found that a bomb had already been planted in his car. Luckily, he was outside the car when it exploded and survived. Igor's partner noticed a specific smell from the blast, one that was typically associated with Dr. Plague's weapons. But how was that possible? All of Dr. Plague's weapons were in police custody. When he rushed to check, he discovered that many of Dr. Plague's weapons were missing. This confirmed that Dr. Plague was somehow involved, but he himself was in police custody. Meanwhile, Yuria continued searching for 1526 and arrived at a secluded forested area, where she encountered a man with the 1526 mark on his hand. After speaking with him, Yuria learned that a man named Oleg was responsible for the bombings throughout the city. Oleg was the same friend of Dr. Plague whom Dr. Plague had claimed was responsible for all the evil acts. However, Igor's previous investigation had proven that Oleg was dead. The man then revealed that they were part of a group called the Crops Creature. a secret army consisting of people who were considered dead by the world. Realizing the truth, Yuria quickly recorded a video warning the police and the public about Oleg. The police and media began actively searching for him. It was soon revealed that Oleg was carrying out all these attacks to avenge Dr. Plague, whom Igor had exposed and sent to prison. Oleg wanted to destroy Igor and had already succeeded in ruining his reputation. Eventually, Oleg himself appeared on CCTV footage, revealing his location. Igor immediately rushed to the scene with his police force. However, upon arrival, he saw his uncle sitting atop several bombs. One wrong move could cost his uncle's life. Igor attempted to talk to Oleg, but before he could say anything, Oleg detonated the bombs, killing Igor's uncle. Devastated by the loss, Igor was filled with grief. At that moment, Igor's partner arrived with shocking news. Everything that had happened was orchestrated by Dr. Plague himself. Enraged, Igor stormed into the mental hospital where Dr. Plague was held, determined to kill him. Before he could do so, security intervened and stopped him. Igor was then taken to meet Dr. Plague's psychiatrist, who explained that Dr. Plague had two personalities. To prove it, the psychiatrist showed Igor how Dr. Plague's eye color changed due to his split personality disorder. However, Igor was too blinded by rage to care. He just wanted Dr. Plague dead. The psychiatrist then hypnotized Igor, making him believe that everything happening around him was normal. He told Igor that no one could always remain a hero. The scene then cut to the security minister introducing drones across the city, with news channels broadcasting the event live. Suddenly, Oleg hacked the broadcast and played his own video, revealing that he had planted bombs inside all the metro stations of the city and had locked all the exits. The bombs were set to detonate in a few hours, killing countless people. He then issued a chilling ultimatum. If people wanted to save their lives, they had to kill Igor within 3 hours. Igor, having lost all hope, stood on a rooftop where his fiancée and partner came to meet him. They encouraged him not to resign, explaining that this was exactly what Oleg wanted. They reminded him that he was the only one who could save the city and proposed a plan. According to the plan, Igor first broke Dr. Plague out of custody and brought him to a port where his fiancée and partner were waiting. Their strategy was to use Dr. Plague to stop everything. However, police began chasing them, and they were caught. But it was soon revealed that the ones in the police car were not Igor and Dr. Plague, but lookalikes in disguise. Meanwhile, Igor was busy executing his plan with Dr. Plague. Igor and Dr. Plague arrived at Oleg's headquarters, where Igor fought Oleg while Dr. Plague disabled the bomb timers. With the bombs deactivated, the metro doors opened, allowing people to escape unharmed. Yuria's plan had worked. However, just when everything seemed to be settling, Dr. Plague's negative personality took over. He started laughing maniacally and revealed a shocking truth. This entire plan wasn't Oleg's, but his own. Dr. Plague explained that he had deliberately crafted a scenario in which Igor would go from being a hero to a villain. He had orchestrated all the chaos in the city, knowing Igor would eventually come after him. Now, with Igor standing before him, he was finally ready to take his revenge. However, instead of killing Igor, Dr. Plague suddenly turned and shot Oleg dead, shocking everyone. Dr. Plague then pointed at a screen, showing that he had activated an order for all police drones to start eliminating people. Since Igor didn't use an Android phone, the drones couldn't track his location, so they began targeting anyone who had ever taken a picture with him. Realizing the danger, Igor quickly took a selfie with Dr. Plague, making it the most recent photo in the system. As a result, all the drones redirected their attacks towards Dr. Plague. Dr. Plague, aware of his imminent death, tried to fight off the drones, but they overwhelmed him. Meanwhile, Igor fought and destroyed several drones himself. Ultimately, Dr. Plague was killed by the very drones he had unleashed. As he lay dying, his eyes changed colors one last time, indicating that both his personalities still existed. The final scene took place in a courtroom, where Igor confessed to his mistakes. He admitted that he was responsible for the city's 2 bombings, though he had later fixed his errors. He declared that he could no longer hold his position and resigned in front of everyone. As he did so, his eyes, too, changed colors, suggesting that, just like Dr. Plague, he now harbored 2 personalities. And with that, the story came to an end.